Finally, a do-it-yourself fairing repair product that works. Fairing Repair is a liquid ABS resin designed to easily repair all ABS plastic, fairings, panels, and fenders. Even the most severely damaged panels can be repaired at a fraction of the cost of new panels. There is no mixing or adding of hardeners or catalysts. The resin air cures in about 24 hours, depending on how thick it was applied. Begin by reassembling the damaged fairing. Tape the fairing back together from the front side using masking tape. Do not try and put any repair compound between the cracks, or you will distort the shape of the fairing. You need to get the fairing back into the original shape. If you are missing pieces, do not worry about it at this point, as you can fill in the missing pieces later. Turn the fairing over and remove the paint, dirt, and grease from the back side of the damaged area. I use a Dremel tool, but you can use a knife, file, or sandpaper. The area around the damage needs to be clean plastic for at least a 1/4 inch on all sides. Now you are ready to put on the fairing repair resin. Simply apply directly out of the applicator bottle to the area you have cleaned off. You should have a continuous bead of fairing repair about 1/8 of an inch thick and about a 1/4 inch on each side of the crack. Once you have finished applying fairing repair, put the fairing aside and do not disturb it for 24 hours. Remove the tape from the front side. If the crack is not visible, you can build up a little more fairing repair on the back side and not need to do any more to the front. If you need to work on the front side, groove out the cracks from the front. Again, I use a Dremel tool, which I recommend. Groove down into the plastic at least halfway through the material. Apply fairing repair just as you did to the back side. Apply enough to fill the groove slightly above the surface of the fairing. Do not overfill, as you will need to sand the surface smooth. When you're finished again, put the fairing aside and do not disturb for 24 hours. Using sandpaper of 120 to 220 grit, sand the damage area. As you go, increase the grit of the sandpaper to a finer grit to avoid scratches. If you're using a power sander, go slow and stop often. Using a good quality primer, paint the damaged area of the fairing. This will fill in any fine scratches and will show up any imperfections while the paint is wet. If you need to fill any minor imperfections or scratches, use an acrylic spot putty for flexible surfaces. Do not use fiberglass body filler or any product that uses a hardener or catalyst. These products will eventually crack and fall out because they do not flex, expand, or contract the same as the fairing. Using fine grit sandpaper of 400 grit or finer, sand the primer. You may need to apply more primer or possibly more spot putty to fill in the fine scratches and pinholes. If you do use more spot putty, make sure you prime before final sanding. When you are finished, you must sand the entire fairing. There should be no shiny areas. The surface of the fairing should be wiped down to remove all dust. A tack cloth can be purchased from your automotive store and should be used before final painting. Use even strokes and do not try to put on too much paint at any one time or you will cause runs. The paint should have wait times printed on the instructions on the can. See the tips and links page for links to color match paint and suggested fillers. Let the final coat dry at least 24 hours. When the paint is dry, carefully remove any masking tape. Congratulate yourself on a job well done. Reinstall the fairing and go for a ride. Check our website for more repair videos and tips. We also have links to help you find the additional supplies and color-matched paint you will need to finish your project.